Hi, today we're speaking with Jason Stancic of EDCO. And Jason, we wanted to talk a little bit today about the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and how it's impacted different businesses. But specifically, I wanted to talk to you about how this pandemic has impacted what you do at EDCO.
Sure. Well, first of all, Wayne, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I think the last time we were in a room together was right before the pandemic happened or took place, and that seems like such a long time ago, doesn't it? um, but yeah, the pandemic has impacted EDCO in multiple ways. I almost hate to say it, but in some ways, it's had a more positive impact on EDCO internally than negative so far. Yes, our business dropped in the spring, but internally, we've only had a single case in our two manufacturing facilities of COVID-19, and that's with over 100 people working for EDCO. And I think the pandemic impacted EDCO by making strengths and weaknesses very clear. We do run we're proud of our two manufacturing facilities. We run two clean, organized manufacturing facilities. We're a lean manufacturer, but COVID sneaks in and affects everything, including what you think is a safe space. So to combat that, EDCO launched its cleanliness plan, and that plan evolved to over 10 things we do on a daily basis, anything from mask wearing and temperature checks and volunteers spraying down common areas, to some of us wiping down doorknobs multiple times a day, and working remotely and keeping a safe distance from each other. So we saw weaknesses in our overall flu prevention that we've corrected, and now we're going to use those improvements permanently to keep seasonal flu out of EDCO for years to come, hopefully. That was one big thing I think we did really well that impacted us internally, because there's only so many manufacturing teammates that can work from home, right? I mean, we can't manufacture remotely. So the majority of our staff have been in our two manufacturing facilities since March when the pandemic happened. So it's been our job to make sure we have two healthy manufacturing facilities. I think another weakness we found that during the pandemic that impacted us greatly was, while we do a lot of online training, and what I think we do more than our competitors, is that I think we realized very early when we couldn't go anywhere to see our customers that although we were doing what we thought was a good amount of online content and training, we realized it wasn't enough for the future. We took in the attitude that COVID has accelerated what was already happening in the world, which is people work and gain knowledge from the internet. The vehicles to do so at everybody's fingertips, whether it's your phone or your computer or whatever on the internet that access the internet. And we've always thought any business that isn't putting funds and time towards that is not preparing for the future. So we've been doing that for a long time, but when some of your staff can't go see the customers, they all of a sudden have time to help out with online content. So we accelerated the production of our new training site that's now coming sooner than we thought it was going to. We launched a new YouTube channel with a playlist called EDCO Tips with Chuck and Ed. They're two of our outside trainers. We're trying to make them little internet stars. We ramped up social media with training tips. And we recently just actually got out of a meeting about it. We recently started construction on an in-house studio where we're going to do podcasts and green screen videos. And we're hoping long-term, we're going to have repetitive streaming programs. So I think so calling notice to those two weaknesses, I think, were the biggest impacts that coronavirus had. And I'll say one more thing about the impact is that, the strength that we realized, and this may sound a little bit corny, but it's true. It's, all of this improved germ killing and online content creation would not be possible without the terrific people that work at EDCO. And that was highlighted as our top strength. Everyone stepped up to stay healthy. and many stepped up to create new content. And I think COVID highlighted what's solid and long-term teammates to make up EDCO.
Well, Jason, how has the staff reacted to this and the different safety precautions you're taking? How did you come up with those? And are you aware of ARA's Clean, Safe, Essential campaign? And are you involved in that in any way yet?
Yeah, we do know Clean, Safe, and Essential. We actually are members of that. I download that very early. And it's nice being, a current board member and ARA board member and someone who's volunteered in the past. ARA reached out to us and other manufacturers to get some feedback on the supplier end of the tutorial they were making. So we are a part of that. As far as safety precautions go, the big thing was the EDCO cleanliness plan that I mentioned earlier. It has 11 things we do in some capacity every way. Our model during COVID has been we need to control everything in an absolutely uncontrollable situation. And that meaning since March, we've quickly grabbed at every small safety opportunity and taken action because we yearned to control something. We felt the world was going sideways back in March and April. So those actions became a combination of basic things like the mask wearing, the temperature checks, hand sanitizing stations, mixed with things that I don't know if a lot of people have thought of. Things like permanently opening every door that we can safely as to reduce touch points. The doors that have to stay closed, we designed and manufactured foot pulls on them, so you don't have to touch the door when you're opening. Use your foot to do so. We put directional arrows on the floor for foot traffic, just like you see at the grocery store. We have volunteers that sanitize bathrooms and common areas multiple times a day. No guests, no food sharing, which really sucks because we have a lot of good cooks at EDCO. That's been painful not to be able to bring in, our luncheons and things like that. But Wayne, any business can take every precaution, but it absolutely means nothing unless people take personal responsibility. And, going back to the strength of our teammates, I can't tell you, we've taken keeping each other safe as a pride thing. We're looking out for each other. People have been safe on the weekends during the holidays of the summer. And we have not had a lot of COVID come into our buildings. And again, a lot of that goes back to people caring about each other and people taking personal responsibility. It's all a house of cards. So you can do everything you can every day to keep people safe, but unless people care about it, it's not going to work. And our people have.
Earlier, you mentioned that, having this time where you may not have been as busy as usual, you've expanded the things you're doing for training. You're coming up with a couple of possible new YouTube stars for training. Mm-hmm. Are you also seeing more interest from your customers in that they have the time to have their employees get trained? And have you seen a bit of an uptick in the usage of your training resources? Yes.
And that's exactly what's happened. Rental customers have had time to train. I will say in the last month or so, rental businesses are getting busier. And the feedback I've heard from both our people and other manufacturers is that independent rental companies are more open. Well, everyone's open for business, right? But as far as coming in, receiving training, receiving customers, more open doors. I've heard from both our people and other manufacturers that as long as we're in masks, doing some personal distancing, independent rental has been more receptive to in-store visits. But everyone was taking advantage of online training in the spring and early summer. With our stuff, everyone needs training during all times. EDCO products are not intuitive to the rental industry. If you haven't been exposed to our type of products, it's not something people figure out how to make money on unless you're shown in an easy way. Rental businesses make money with EDCO after we train how to profit with them, whether it be in person or online. So the interest in online training has been high online. I can't even count how many live or recorded training sessions EDCO's done for both independent customers and large national accounts. It's actually been pretty cool for us. Some of my guys have done regional trainings for for multiple national accounts, meaning a group of national account branches in the Midwest, on the East, or in the West even. And I will say for us, that's been very well received. And we have gotten orders directly from those regions who received that training because we're able to provide that to them when they wanted to. And that was because their regional directors said, hey, we have time right now. Let's get educated. And so when we get through this, we'll be better to help sell our services to their customers.
Now, when we have talked with different rental stores, obviously via the American Rental Association, and you do hear from several general tool rental stores that their business, they might be up despite the pandemic, because you have those stay-at-home orders and people are actually trying to get to those projects that have been sitting on the side and they're needing to rent equipment. It seems like EDCO has products that can be used for those DIY projects at home. So has that meant an increase in demand from rental stores for your equipment and via the customer?
So in spots, some rental partners are buying more than others. We have one particular national account that's buying lots of EDCO right now. They put in large orders and we'll be shipping to them every week until the end of the year. So that's been exciting. Other national accounts are delaying their replenishment orders and keeping their EDCO a little bit longer than normal. On the independent rental side, our 5 distribution partners for independent rental are all ordering more than they were in the spring right now. They had what they needed. We delivered what they needed for the spring and the winter, and then the COVID-19 hit. But now they're through that stock, and now they're seeing their independent rental stores saying, "I got to have this. I need it." And there are regional distribution partners are all ordering right now. We're supplying several truckloads right now. And we've seen consistency with our online business directed toward contractors and homeowners. If you want to buy it directly, those numbers grew slightly over the past year. But we have been seeing very recently a good uptick in independent rental orders through our distribution partners. And I will say this, what's been going gangbusters throughout the spring and summer has been our manufacturing services division called EDCO Fabrication, which is very interesting. We have a second business where we actually manufacture parts for other manufacturing companies. Some of our largest customers on that end are they design and install mail sorters, packaging sorters for Amazon, the United States Postal Service, and UPS. So you can imagine the demand for more capacity for Amazon. So our customers have been designing and installing for them, and they've come to us for more manufacturing capacity of their parts. So what we were able to do, because things were slow in the spring as far as EDCO branded product is, we were able to be flexible between our 2 manufacturing facilities, and we already had a large stock out with our we already had a sufficient stock of EDCO branded product outside of our buildings here with our distribution partners in their regions. So because they had that stock, it got a little slow with EDCO brand. We were able to create more capacity in our 2 facilities for the EDCO fabrication services, and that allowed that team to gain more market share, because we said, well, other companies said, we can't do anything more for you. EDCO Fab said, we have more capacity. Give us more business. And that's grown. That's actually grown over the pandemic, which has been very interesting.
Well, Jason, we appreciate your time today. It'll be interesting to see how we all come out on the other side of the pandemic, but it sounds like you're making progress and moving forward, and we wish you the best of luck in the future.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. ARA's done a great job during this, keeping their members informed, and you guys keep coming out with great stuff all the time. So thank you very much.